Hey guys, Kappa here. I've got a new phone in for you today, the Google Pixel 8a. I've been using this for about a week and I got it on a carrier deal and I figured I'd just go over it a little bit. So getting started, the price is $500, but Google always has crazy sales. It's actually on sale right now for $399 at Amazon, and I've got the link below. If you're thinking about picking one up and you use my link, it'll be no extra cost to you, but it'll help me recoup some of my costs. So please do if you're gonna get it. Here's what comes inside of the box for the Pixel 8a. You get a USB-C to USB-C cable, and then the USB-A to USB-C adapter that Google always seems to bundle with its stuff. A lot of people complain that these phones no longer come with power adapters, but I myself now have like 10 of them. So if you're not getting a phone for the first time, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Probably a bad take, but I would prefer to not have e-waste. I think a better solution would be to have an optional package that includes it, and maybe that's the $500 phone, and then if you pay like $480, then you don't get the adapter. That way it's kind of a choice. It does feel like they just pulled out the adapters and didn't change the price at all. So I like the environmental side of it. I don't like the pricing and fake greenwashing part of it that most of these companies do. Anyway, sorry, I always go on these little rants. Here's my phone, the Pixel 8a. I love the color on it. I think it's just really nice. It feels great. And I guess that's kind of a good segue into the hardware. So this phone obviously is plastic on the back because it is a budget phone. It comes in four colors. I think it's black, white, some sort of green, like pastel green, similar to this, and then this blue. Personally, I think the blue looks the best, which is why I picked this one up. I'm a big fan of it. Inside, this is running the Tensor G3, which is Google's latest Tensor chip, same one that you're going to get on the 8 Pro and the 8 Proper. So you're going to get really good performance with this phone considering its price. My model has 128 gigabytes of storage, but it goes up to 256 if you want to get a different version. And this one has 8 gigabytes of RAM. Actually, they all have 8 gigabytes of RAM, regardless of the storage configuration. So that's going to be the same through. This also has an under-screen fingerprint reader. As you can see here, it's really fast, works well. It is not an ultrasonic one though, so if you're trying to read at night, you can see it gets pretty bright. Well, it's too quick to show, but trust me, if you're reading in bed and you miss it a little bit, you might have some issues. Also, if your finger's wet, it's not gonna work nearly as well. And another nice thing that this phone has is IP67 waterproofing, which means I think you can go down like a meter for 30 minutes or something. But again, I wouldn't recommend that because I never do that myself. Anyways, let's talk a little bit about the software. So I actually just recorded my Pixel 6 Pro review today as well. And with every Pixel, it's pretty much the same story. You're gonna get as vanilla as it can be Android. Well, actually, that's not true. You can get ASOP. You can get more vanilla, but Google is the manufacturer of Android, so arguably they have the purest form, even though they add some software goodies on top. I really like those software goodies. The ones that I mostly appreciate are the call screening and the hold for me. You can use hold for me to do exactly what it sounds like, hold for you. So if you're on a call waiting for a bank or a service provider or internet, whatever the case, you can essentially just interact with your phone through a textual interface, and then you can fill out prompts and do stuff like that. My favorite though is the call screening. I get a lot of spam calls and Google will just automatically pick them up, have a short conversation with the person, realize that it's a scam, and then close it. And sorry if my video cut out, it just opened the assistant on my 6 Pro, which is what I'm currently recording with. Other cool things that Google has included, and arguably has had for a long time, is circle to search, where you hold this bottom part and then you circle something and it pulls it out. I use this primarily for text recognition. So what I do is I hold it, and then let's say I didn't want to write that, boom, I've got lumberjack right there. So like I said, Google has had this for a long time, but the form they had it in was kind of pulling up, and then you could select here, and it was similar, but not quite as streamlined. So I don't think it's as good as the hype is saying for Circle to Search. They do a lot of marketing around it, pretending it's something crazy new, but they've had it for a long time. Wow, that fly's annoying. Sorry about that. Yeah, so the other big differences with Google software is inside of Google Photos, you get things like face unblur and removal of objects. As I've said in previous videos, I don't use those very much myself. I usually just leave my pictures as they are, which is one of the reasons that I really like the Pixel phones, is it's kind of a one take and you can be fairly confident that the pictures are gonna look good. Something that's crazy good about these Pixel 8s is, well, 8As, 8 and 8 Pro, is that they all get 7 years of major OS updates. So I don't know anyone that keeps their phone for 7 years, except for maybe some of my aunts who do keep their phones forever. But if you're one of those people, this phone is going to be an awesome investment for you. The only issue might be the battery, which I haven't replaced it myself, but I'm sure you could pay someone a couple $100 to do it. Although in the next couple of years, I know the EU is making manufacturers provide replaceable batteries. So I'm really hoping that those designs kind of make their way over into the US and we can benefit from some of that stuff. But time will tell. So I would assume they won't come, in which case 7 years is going to be awesome. Also, sorry if you hear that loud blowing. My wife is vacuuming something. Okay, sorry about that. The vacuuming's done. I could barely think. But anyways, let's talk about the screen and speakers. So this has a 120 hertz OLED display that gets up to, well, they say 2000 nits. I don't have something to measure that, so I don't know how to figure that out. But I can say that when I'm outside, I can see it pretty decently. My only complaint is that off axis, it's kind of, it's got a cool tone to it. My Pixel 6 Pro does not. So I'll notice when I'm reading something, it just feels a little colder, a little more sterile, which some people might like. I personally don't prefer it. The screen is completely flat, which is awesome because you can get a screen protector and then you don't have to worry about wearing out your oil-phobic coating because you can just pull that off and put a new one on. So the brightness gets really good. It's got a high refresh rate display. It's a flat screen. That pretty much covers the screen, I think. So we can just talk a little bit about the speakers then. It's a dual speaker setup. You got one down-firing speaker, and then on the top you have a hybrid earpiece speaker that works very well. The phone gets decently loud, but I have noticed that it gets kind of shrill sometimes. It hurts my ears, but I have more sensitive ears than some people. Like my wife doesn't notice it at all, but she also can't hear like dog deterrent things when we're going on walks. So maybe it's just me that has this problem, but just calling it out in case you get one and you hear that, or if you're sensitive to high noises. So let's talk about the camera. It's got a 64 megapixel main camera, which is really good. It's got a 13 megapixel ultra wide, which is also pretty decent. I mean, it's a Pixel, so all of these cameras are very good, especially for their class. And then it's got a 13 megapixel selfie camera. I think I'll just show you pictures because that'll tell you a lot more than me just yapping about it. So enjoy. This is the selfie camera. Works pretty well.
Watch me stretch this leg. I can't do it.
Damn, this camera is struggling.
I can't do it. Can you thread the needle?
Go now. Need you balancing. Little walking video, get a little ultra wide, then the zoom, and then the zoom. Hey, kitty. Oh. All right, let's talk a little bit about the battery. This has a 4,492 milliamp hour cell. Don't know why they didn't go to 500, 4,500 that is. Google seems to always just have these strangely sized batteries. My Pixel 6 Pro, I think, has 5,002 milliamp hours or something. I'm not 100% sure. But this battery, interestingly, I use a program called AccuBattery that is supposed to give you an estimate of your battery life. And your battery health, and my Pixel is actually over 100% with its battery health, so that's good to hear. It also lasts me a long time, especially when compared to my Pixel 6 Pro. It doesn't last me quite as long as something like the Moto Edge 2024 that I have here, but overall, it still lasts a long time, so I think you'll be happy with it if you get this phone. The only downsides are that it charges at only 18 watts, though I have a little power meter thing, and I was able to get it up to about 25. But real world charging speeds are about 1% a minute if you have a brick that can supply the maximum power. So pretty slow charging overall on this phone. It also does support wireless charging at 7.5 watts, but it gets really hot and I wouldn't recommend it. I don't use wireless charging in my day-to-day, although I have like 4 stands because I thought I would use it, and now I regret buying them. But yeah, that's pretty much summing up the battery. Let's talk a little bit about performance and gaming. So this phone has the all-new Tensor G3, as I covered above. And it's got ARM rebranded their Mali chips into something called Immortalis. So this has an ARM Immortalis G715S MC10, which that is a terrible name, but all that's really important is that it's able to get the job done, and I can tell you that it is. I was easily able to play Alien Isolation on this with no stuttering, and when I did some local emulation of PSP and GameCube and PS2, this was able to just chug through everything. So I would say the performance is really good and the gaming is good, but similar to the original Tensor, it still gets hot because it was made with that partnership with Samsung, so it's similar to an Exynos, and it does go through battery quicker than other devices with Qualcomm chips. So just like in my Pixel 6 Pro review, I'm going to say it again. I really hope that Google breaks away from Samsung. They've announced that they will. I think it's going to be on the Pixel 10 series. So I'm really looking forward to see what they do when they move away from that chip. So let's just talk a little bit about the overall conclusion. So I think that this phone is awesome. I like that it's got a plastic back because for me, that makes it feel more durable. It also makes the phone lighter and it makes it easier to work on if you're going to do replacements. It's got a decently powerful chip, especially given the price, that allows you to do pretty much anything that you want to. You're only going to have issues if you do really heavy emulation at like 4x resolution, in which case you'd probably rather go with a Qualcomm. I think one of the best parts of this phone is the camera, though one downside is that it doesn't have a telephoto, so you might be better off going with a used Pro Pixel from a previous year that'll be around the same price. The battery life is pretty good, which I think it's kind of a pro, kind of a con, because a lot of phones got really good battery life this year. Like the OnePlus 12R will last significantly longer than this phone. The screen is really good and really bright, and we now have face unlock, which is a plus. Overall, I'd say this is a good recommendation, especially if you like Google's software and you like their phones, then I would say pick one of these up. If you don't, I'd probably get the OnePlus 12R if you're looking at something around this budget, because the battery is going to be insane, the screen's really good, and the cameras are pretty decent. Also, it's got crazy performance. Let me know if you guys want to know anything else about this phone, and leave a like, leave a subscribe, or don't, whatever. But I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for sticking around. Bye.